Morning, everyone. Welcome to the 31st weekly online forum of our Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines. I am your moderator, one of the moderators for today. Of course, our co-moderator is also Karen Ordonez of Alianza Agricultura. And our episode today is entitled The Role of Roots in Climate Change Adaptation, also as well as in crops. So this is a very important discussion that we will have today with our esteemed speaker. So I am Attorney Dulce Punzalan, the Corporate Secretary of ABCDF MEP, welcoming you to our 31st session. So I would like to request our technical team to play the national anthem to be followed by the prayer, and then we will proceed with our main session. Thank you.
Lord, thank you for this day, for the presence of everyone in this call. For once again, we are gathered and given the opportunity to appreciate life and your words. Forgive us for our shortcomings and cleanse our hearts as we learn and live your words and example. Father, bless our endeavors, especially today's meeting. May you guide us in our discussions, and may you enlighten our minds in every decision that we make. Give us your grace that we may effectively do our parts for your greater glory. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Now, please show on the screen the partner institutions in our ABCD MEP. And we would really like to thank our partner institutions as well as the individual members and our guests and esteemed speakers who have been with us all these years. So on the screen, you now have the corporate, the individual partners, individual members, partner institution. I'd like to call on Ka Ernie Ordonez of Alianza Agricultura and also one of the founding members of our board to introduce our esteemed speaker for today. Ka Ernie.
Yeah, thank you, Dulce. Vivian, can you please play the national anthem because it was Heroes Day yesterday, and we should really play the national anthem. We introduce our speaker. Vivian, can you play the national anthem, please?
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, telas ang sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyak ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit bagaw, ay hinatang tulakaw, sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang lang matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan, ang hindi magtitingin, lupa ng araw ng waragin pagsinta, uli langit sa piling mo, ang hindi kaya na pagkay magagin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Right. Okay, thank you. Heroes Day yesterday. Well, we have a hero in our midst, Dr. Roel Suralta. I want to introduce him to you. He's quite impressive. He's devoted his life to help our country. First of all, his species from Japan. You know how tough that is, right? Dr. Roel Suralta is the Academician from the National Academy of Science and Technology. He has quite a list of credentials. It will take me half an hour. I'll do it in 3 minutes or less. From Nagoya University's PhD. Then, of course, a member to do this very difficult, no? Oh, there, it's on the screen. Okay. I'll do it very quickly, no, so that we highlight the meeting. Number 2 is very important, right? Diba? And then we jump to number 6, right? He received 16 official local and international awards. Incidentally, this was given to you beforehand, but you didn't read it. I want to emphasize it. And it's published at least 70 in local and international journals. To be published is very difficult. They have to have peer review, etc. That is it's so easy to write, but to have it published is hard. At least 70. No? Now he's going to talk to us about rule of roots, no, for climate change. Now I challenged him before and asked him, this is good for scientists. No, we're not scientists. We're businessmen, and our department chair, together with Bernie, who has done this every for 14 years, which has not been done in the Philippines before, thanks to Bernie. He said, we want what you get there to transfer into behavior. How can you translate the scientific finding into behavior? It's easy when we talk on a crop like dragon fruit, then we connect them to banks and people and all that. Talagang dumadami. You can spread the word. With the scientific, I don't know how I can spread the word. So I asked you, he said, yeah, you can do it. So let's do it if possible in your talk. And of course, in your talk, first few minutes is, how did you get into it? Bernie said that you have a fascinating background. How you get into it? Mga 5 minutes or so. And then your talk. And then at the end, how we can help you, how we can help spread your wisdom to others. Like Jesus Christ said, let the light shine in the darkness. You're the light. Our country's in darkness, especially in agriculture. No? And basically, before we start, can you give us your phone number? Because people around the world, we have 500 every week now. And we have to do it in English because 20% are abroad. No? Could you give us your number, Dr. Roel, please? Roel Suralta. Could you give us your phone number before you start the talk?
Okay, I will put it in the chat box.
No, also say it because the people abroad don't look at the chat box so much.
Okay.
What is it? 09? Could you give it to us?
Okay. It's 0999
Yes.
569
Yes.
7004.
Yeah. Could you repeat that? 0999.
0999
Yes.
569 7004.
Right. Okay. 0999 569 7004. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And you might expect calls from around the world because the speakers Bernie chooses for us are really good and many people benefit. Thank you so much. And I also thank you because many people, they give their office numbers. They don't want to be disturbed. And you're kind enough to give your cell numbers. Thank you very much. On that note, it is with pleasure I present to you someone who can be a hero, is a hero in agriculture with his awards and publications, track record, a scientist from Academy of Science and Technology. I now present to you with a doctor from Japan, which is really tough to do. Dr. Roel Suralta. Dr. Roel, please join us with your wisdom and welcome to our foundation.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Ernie. Good morning, everyone. So I would like first to thank the Management Association of the Philippines through kay Ma'am Bernie, who invited me on this talk. Actually, this was scheduled in July, but unfortunately, I was not able to put it in my schedule because of prior appointments. I went also to Japan to do one month bridge fellowship program, which is more on networking of the scientists in order to advance the technologies associated with increasing productivity in the climate change affected areas. Anyway, again, good morning. So my talk today is about the role of roots in climate change adaptation of crops.
Before you do that, Roel,
Okay.
tell us about your life. We're fascinated. We're you have a nice life and how you got into it. Mga 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's why I am going to start with my background.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. Actually, I came from a small island in the central Philippines, in Cebu. I'm from Camotes Island. Actually, I was born in Manila because my parents actually worked in Los Baños, Laguna when I was actually when they were a little bit younger. When we talk about Los Baños, Laguna, it's not because they're working at UPLB or in Erie. Although my mother used to work at Erie, but not a researcher, but as a labandera. And my father also worked as an audiovisual equipment operator at the National Arts Center in Mount Makiling. So yung Philippine National High School for the Arts. But we went back to Camotes Island when I was 5 years old. And from there, I spent my childhood days and finished my elementary and high school days. My parents actually are farmers until today. So they are still healthy. And actually, when I was in high school, at the age of 12 years old, I already working in the farm. So planting maize, planting cassava, and planting sweet potato. So that's actually at that young age, I was really exposed how difficult farming is. Yeah, and I was actually challenged actually on thinking on how are we going to improve farm productivity, because I experienced firsthand really how difficult farming is and how low our productivity during that time actually. And Camotes Island is located somewhere in between Bohol, Leyte, and Cebu. And it was funny because even on those major islands, it's already raining, but in Camotes, we still suffer, long drought season. Kahit nag-ano na, kahit nag-drought na, kahit nag-umuulan na in other provinces. That also actually add a factor for, for the reduction of our crop productivity, especially maize. So that's why we diversify. And when I went to college, so I decided to enroll at the Visayas State College of Agriculture. Yeah, for reason, actually for the first reason is not for agriculture, but because during that time it was only the VISCA has had a very lowest tuition fee in which we can afford. When I get there, then and I enrolled in BS Agriculture, and I finished with a major in agricultural botany. So that's how actually I finished my BS, and immediately after my graduation, I landed a job at the Philippine Rice Research Institute. So after spending few years pala in Visca, I landed a job at PhilRice during the time of Santiago Obien. So this is where actually I started my career. And bringing that experience during my childhood. So although climate change was not really a favorite word during that time, but I realize now that that experience in climatic conditions in Camotes, wherein I said earlier that it was already raining at the neighboring islands, but still we are still suffering drought stress, no rainfall at all, was already an effect actually of climate change. So that was 30 years ago. So when I pursued my graduate studies, actually our executive director during that time, it was already Dr. Sebastian, challenged me. So what are you going to take up? So I said that I'm going to take up agronomy and study of this, study of that. And he said that there are already many researchers that are doing that. So I was forced to think, deeply, what graduate course that I need to, I need to pursue. And then it came up to my mind that, okay, I need to contribute something in order to to mitigate the effect of climate change. So that's where I started my research on root science, using root science to improve crop productivity under the climate change affected areas. So that's how I my background on pursuing these courses, and eventually this has become my passion and also my advocacy. So going back to my to my talk about the role of roots for climate change adaptation. So we already know the effect of climate change. So I just wanted to give you some background. So climate change does not just affect the rainfall. Climate change does not only speak of drought stress. It also, climate change can also affect, water in general. So maybe drought on the other places and then flooding on the other places. That was already the effect of climate change. So we need to do something. So in the case of my background, I'm an agronomist and specializing on crop physiology. So I realized that maybe I need to embark on the use of root science to improve, climate change resiliency of crops. But during that time, it was really very difficult because when I studied at Nagoya University, I think we are only very few. We can be counted on fingers doing on root science because it was really difficult. We started from the scratch, developing the technologies on how we're going to conduct root research, and also how to discover some of those traits that are very useful for improving climate change resiliency. But then again, fast forward till now, so we have already identified some of those important root traits that can be used for improving crop productivity under climate change. So we are actually doing two, technology development in relation to the improvement of crop, improving the crop adaptation to the climate change challenge environment. One is through genetics. So we would like to improve rice, the rice crop, or even other crops. We would like to improve its resiliency by improving the roots. And the other is management practices, agronomic management practices, in order also to enhance the expression of this root plasticity. And we found out that in every environment, we cannot actually, use only one set of root traits in order to improve the crop performance. So we found out later on that there should be a different set of root traits that can be used to improve the variety that will make the crop suitable for different environment. Because if you say it's drought, although it simply says that it lacks water, but the other environments in the soil, including the fertility, including the depth of the soil, including the hardness, and everything would also affect the performance of the crops. It also actually complicate actually the performance. So right now we have already developed some advanced lines that can be used, can be released as a variety in maybe in 2 years' time. So these are suited in rice production areas that are really experiencing water stress. For all you know, even the irrigated areas, the rice irrigated areas, at some point suffers water stress. Pwede siyang drought, pwede then flooded condition, and this variety can be, hopefully in 2 years' time, when these advanced lines become variety, this can be very suitable in increasing, sustaining the yield in rice production areas that suffers water stress. And on the other side, we also develop other technologies. We have we collaborated with, I'm an agronomist, but I need to collaborate with other specialization like the agricultural engineers. We collaborated with crop protectionists. We collaborated with other specialization, and we also actually develop a multi-purpose seeder. So what is this multi-purpose seeder? So this multi-purpose seeder will enable to, shift the planting of rice from a normal transplanted one into a direct seeded one. And it is not just direct seeded, but we call it dry direct seeding. We can seed directly the rice seeds at the dry soil, and then maybe waiting for the rainfall to come in 1 or 2 weeks time, and then actually those rice seeds can still grow. And actually, it will actually aid in maximize the water use efficiency, because we do not need much water during the establishment period. And this multi-purpose seeder is actually available now. And the challenge for now is how are we going to commercialize this technology? But this is already available. So we tried to combine the improved varieties and also the management practices. And the other aspect also of improving the roots for improving the climate change resiliency in rice specifically is that we tried also to use the knowledge on root science in order to develop varieties that can actually control the weeds. We called it the root allelopathy. So the principle there is that we can identify some of those rice that can produce some substances in the roots that can biologically control the weeds. So instead, because one of the problems in areas which are affected with water scarcity is that it's very difficult to control the weeds. So that's the other complicating factors there. So that's why we also embark on improving the root system by way of making it as also a source of those biological or those natural chemicals that can control the weeds. But so far, this is actually at the early stage of development. But later on, if we can actually maximize, or if we can actually optimize and identify efficiently those lines, we can breed another variety which has that kind of that traits. So we have this variety that are water stress tolerant, and at the same time has the ability also to biologically control the weeds growing at the actually neighboring plants, which is our main crop, the rice. Or perhaps on the other crops also we can also do this one. So those are the development. It's actually a very long process, because as I emphasized earlier, we started from scratch. That was around 15 to 20 years ago. But this has been already, come into fruition. And as I've said, in 2 years' time, we can have this kind of variety that can be used by our farmers for these areas affected by climate change. So I think that's the work that we are doing right now. So I think we can open the floor now for some discussion, I think, and questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Roel, for the very comprehensive presentation and the use cases. So we will now open the virtual floor for questions. So for those who are able, kindly look at the reactions box. At the lower portion, you have the reaction icon there. Kindly raise your hand. And then for those who would like to type their questions, you can also type the questions in the chat box. Sa Ka-Ernie? Yeah. To start it off, Dr. Roel.
Yeah.
Yes, can you answer the first question that was posted earlier by Ka-Ernie Ordonez on how we in ABCDF would be able to help promote the advocacy as well as the socio-economic impact of the work that you are doing?
Yeah, I think first is, the variety will come in at maybe in 1 year or 2 years time. But we can also, when this becomes a variety, So I think the promotion of this variety on those areas affected by water scarcity would be also we need some help on this. But this is focused more on the rice production. Yeah, so focus more on the seed growers that are that would help us in producing these varieties, and of course not just producing but also promoting also on the use of these varieties. So perhaps that's one. The other is, as I mentioned earlier, we have developed this multi-purpose seeder, which can be used in the rain-fed lowland and upland rice areas. By the way, this multi-purpose seeder can be used not just to seed rice, but also mung bean and also corn. The challenge now is the commercialization of this machine, this technology. So we have that technology, but the challenge now is how are we going to commercialize this one? There are many actually farmers cooperatives that are very interested, but at this point we are tali kami in terms of commercialization. So that's actually the two areas that maybe the Management Association of the Philippines can help us.
You have can you show it? Is it with you? Can you show us the actual photo of the multi-purpose seeder?
Let me see if I have in my screen. Let me check your first.
Because there is yes, so we'd like to call on first Bernie Yap, who is raising her hand, and then the next one will be Sir Ike Señares. Miss Bernie?
Oh, actually, Dr. Roel, my question is, you described the process that has taken several years, almost 20 years, and then you need an additional 2 years.
Yes.
Is it really that long? And by the time you're able to develop it, wouldn't we be plagued with other problems or issues already?
Yeah, actually, that 1 or 2 years, actually, that is the fastest possible time, because we just discovered the genes around a year or 2 years ago, and then we started that gene for we call it gene for root plasticity. So when we say root plasticity, this is the ability of the roots actually to change its architecture depending on the soil moisture condition. So that was actually 2 years back that we discovered the gene. So that's why actually medyo mabilis na yon, that the 2 years time. But we can still fast track on this because that 2 years we expect that we will register it with the National Seed Industry Council. But there are other avenue actually to fast track this. We call it the I forgot the term for the breeders for that. Parang tinatawag nilang PBP, that I forgot the term of that. That's that breeder's term. That process actually can cut the time, so we don't need to register that as a variety, but as a special special lines, or we still call it special variety, so that we can commence the seed production immediately, and for faster distribution to the farmers. So ganun po talaga ang breeding. Actually, it's very short because we are using biotechnology tools. Without using it, maybe we will be spending around maybe 5 years or 7 years again to develop a variety out of that root traits that we have discovered, that we are going to incorporate into our modern varieties.
Ms. Moderator, I just want to say this. Ike is next. We want to say that we limit ourselves to one question, if necessary, two questions, to provide room for other people. And as we talk, no, we go into 10 o'clock, so we know more of that. No? So just to warn you about that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We will now call on Sir Ike Señeres for the first question. We'll have a second round later when everyone's able to ask the question. Okay. Thank you. Dr. Roel, is this the multipurpose seeder?
Yeah, this is the multi-purpose seeder. Actually, the multi-purpose seeder is the one attached to the hand tractor. So most of the farmers, actually rice farmers, has a hand tractor. So we are not actually commercializing the hand tractor because that's already available in the rice farm. But this implement at the back near between that operator and the machine, so that is the multi-purpose seeder. So we developed this technology so that we can just directly seed. We can just prepare the field, not as the regular land preparation. This is just a dry land preparation, and then after that, even without rainfall, we can directly seed the rice, and this rice will grow actually when the rainfall comes in 1 or 2 weeks. So nakaka-save siya ng water because we don't need to to irrigate the rice farm in order to do the transplanting. So this technology is already available. So it can save actually labor for transplanting by around 50 to 60%, and even the seed cost we were able to to reduce also the cost of the seeds, because for the broadcasting, direct seeding using the manual broadcasting would actually require around 150 kilograms of seeds per hectare. But in this case, we can simply seed around 30 to 40 kilograms per hectare. So you can see the difference. So this is actually one of the technologies also for maximizing water use in those climate change affected areas, especially now that we are even in the rural areas. We are now actually fighting for the available water from the irrigation canal. Yeah, so this is the multi-purpose seeder.
Okay, thank you. So I'll now call on Sir Ike Señeres for his first question. Sir Ike, can you turn on your microphone, please?
Yes, I put my question in the chat box because my signal is bad, no?
Okay.
But I can read it now. Is there already information available about what crops or species to plant and where, no? Based on empirical and historical data on soil, water, and weather, so that decisions can be data-driven?
Yeah, I think the Department of Agriculture, if I remember correctly, during the time of Secretary Piñol, they have this soil map in which they embedded also the the production potential. So when I say production potential, so these are the type of soil, what are the crops suited on this in terms of the type of soil, in terms of the prevailing climatic data. So yeah, the answer is yes. We have that at the Department of Agriculture. So we called it the soil map data. And at the moment, PhilRice is also developing through the PRISM. What is that? PRISM is Philippine Rice Information System, I think. And
stakeholders.
Yeah. So we have actually, they have also incorporated some of those climatic data also, but this is very specific on rice. But for that sa DA, I think we have that already through the Bureau of Soils and Water Management, that soil map data.
Okay, thank you.
The next question is, are you familiar with the story that Batanes group of islands used to have more than 75 varieties of root crops until they were influenced to plant rice and shift to a rice diet? Unfortunately, I don't have that information. But actually in Camotes Island, we also have this kind of, situation. But the challenge in Camotes Island is we shift our diet to rice, but we were not able to, to shift our planting to rice because of the availability of water. But the same story. So some of those farmers have already, abandoned also the planting of those, traditional crops because of this, because they only focused on actually on corn, and then they sell the corn and then buy rice in that case. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the responses of Dr. Roel to the two questions. The next question will come from Mr. Narciso Intal.
Good morning, Dr. Roel.
Morning, sir.
Morning. My question is focused on rice production. Specifically, Dr. Roel, for the information of everyone, our agricultural lands soil fertility is at a high of 83%. 16% is moderately fertile, and 1% is only high fertile. So we are focusing on increased productivity in spite of so many technological advancements that PhilRice ERI is now promoting. And with the current challenges in our ecosystem, specifically the industrial farming, what would you say, what can you recommend on our increasing soil health or increasing soil fertility? To as much as how many percent would you recommend, or would you see for the next 5 years during the administration of BBM? Now we are having a 4.25, I think, for our national average yield for rice. We are targeting at least 6 tons per hectare for the inbred varieties. And for the hybrid varieties, we are targeting at least to hit an 8%, an 8 tons per hectare. So this is a very, very big challenge. What measures would you like to recommend as a scientist in terms of soil rejuvenation or soil restoration? Thank you, Dr. Roel.
Okay. Actually, that's very good questions, but having a very difficult answer actually, because it really needs, an integration of different technologies. I think one is, we are talking of 2 scenarios here. One is the big industrial farming, and then the other are small farming actually, because the land holdings of the farmers are around 1 to 2 hectares actually per household, or even lower. So for the bigger farm areas, we do recommend, I personally I recommend balanced fertilization. So not just the use of, all throughout the use of synthetic fertilizers, but we can always incorporate an organic fertilizer. Because this organic fertilizer, although the challenge of organic fertilizer is that it can just give you a very small amount of nutrients for the rice crop. So that's why in most cases, when you use a purely organic fertilizer, the yield is still low. But we don't need also to, you know, to underestimate the contribution of organic fertilizers in terms of improving the health. It is not just giving a nutrient or nutrient for the growing rice, but it can also rejuvenate the the soil health in terms of diversifying the microorganisms in the soil, in terms of improving the soil architecture in order to increase also the water holding capacity. So that's why I was telling about balanced fertilization. So you need to have a portion, a ratio of organic fertilizer that could function as not just giving a nutrient to the rice plant, but in improving the soil condition. And at the same time, we have to balance it with inorganic fertilizer also that can actually this one that can give the immediate need of the rice plant for the rice in particular. So there should be a balanced fertilization. So hindi natin pwedeng synthetic fertilizer because through time the soil condition would really actually it's going down the soil health. The other is for the smallholder farmers. We encourage actually crop diversification. Not really crop diversification, but farm diversification as a whole. Actually, so kasi if we talk about rice, that's only monocrop, but we can actually integrate other crop species. So one actually is to increase agricultural productivity. Next is it can also help, rejuvenating the soil. For example, if you plant some legumes at some portion of the area, it can provide nitrogen. It can also, rejuvenate the soil. If you plant, if you also incorporate, I said farm diversification, you can integrate animal component on this. So that small, smallholder farmers have some sort of parang sinasabi nating circulating economy. Lahat walang wastage. So that waste that you can produce could be fertilizer to the other component, and it really helps in terms of sustainability. And the other is productivity, and then the soil health. The other is diversify also the nutrition, because if you have different crops planted in an area, so even the family that actually cultivating that they have also a diverse sources of nutrition. Not to mention some of the emergency, we call it emergency crop, when actually, for example, when there is a typhoon, when there is a flash flooding, in which it will destroy the rice. So that family that cultivating that diversified, diverse, that farm with the diverse, crops, meron po silang pagkukunan ng ibang pagkain.
Again, thank you very much, Dr. Roel. For everyone here in the call, some of the details that Dr. Roel mentioned regarding the multi-purpose rice seeder of PhilRice, I posted it in the chat box. You can download the link to the details of the multi-purpose rice seeder that has been developed, and which crops you can also apply or use the multi-purpose rice seeder. Maybe, do we have any other question, Ernie?
Yeah, Ms. Moderator, just a question related to process here. Dr. Roel, Visca, where you studied, is the one that brought me a technology known only too later, where in my effort to prove I'm a farmer, I took out my sugar, though it's almost planted, and challenged the 3.2 tons per hectare with the Visca, which is 33 tons. I made 37 tons. I then went into the communist territory in Balayan and talked to them about justice, brought their farmers to my farm, gave them seeds, and their income went up. So this is the problem in our country. With technology, it's not spread. Vietnam and Thailand get it. Now, Dr. Roel, you are in this, right? And I want to request a partnership with you because you came from the ranks. You came from a farmer family and all that. And I want to have a partnership with you. There are too many scientists who do things and Vietnam and Thailand get it. And it's not spread, as in the case of the Visca. The Visca, okay? I brought it to the farm of President Aquino. She didn't know anything about it. And nobody knew about it. In other words, it's there and Vietnam gets it, not us. Now, you are into science. And I said, our chairman said, poverty reduction. Your forums, Ernie, are not just to educate. It's to help the speaker and ourselves partner for poverty reduction. So I'm going to ask this question, right? I want to partner with you if you have the energy, you know, because you're young and strong and all that. No, I want our partner in the scientific committee to look not just at the science, but the transfer. For example, your so-called technology that Dulce just passed. You know, Insigne Dulce is world ambassador for Fambu. She's in many things and doing a great job. But we, the rest, want to be like her and help the country. So I'd like to ask you this question. No? For example, that sheller, are you tracking how many are getting it? Are you tracking who is the competition here and abroad? Because I want to know if you're tracking it. No? Are you tracking it? Do you know how much are sold every month and who's selling it and where it's being sold and all that? If you don't know that, I want to have a project with you. We'll start tracking these things, you know, because they're not tracking it. What they're doing is it's sitting there on the shelf doing nothing, or it's being stolen by other countries, right? And this is terrible. And our extension workers, 17,000 of them, became kind of useless, right? Because when they were given to the DA, many of us didn't give a darn, use them for the. And our technology is terrible. We're one of the worst, if not the worst in Asia. So our leadership has become crazy. We used to head everything exports and all that. Today, Indonesia, it's about 50 billion, Thailand, 35 billion, and we are 6 billion. And I went to the meeting last week, right? And their target is to be 8 billion from 6 to 8 in a couple of years, but they're already 35. My God, it's crazy. I mean, we need a change, you know. If only we did Thailand. We don't need overseas workers. They can have their families here because the income from overseas is killing our people because we have to do it. But if we only did what Thailand did, it would be more than that. Ang problema ko, yung implementation ng scientific mo. So tanong ko, incidentally, my doctorate is transfer of technology. We are the worst, you know. I even wrote a book published by the UN that talked that our seed to shelf is the biggest value of all these middlemen and cartels, correct? Okay. But I don't want you to fight the cartels. I want you to track the technology. And we, the businessmen, we're businessmen here. We're businessmen. So we don't know what you're doing, no? If you track it, then we can connect and we can make things happen, but we don't know what's going on. So can you do that? First of all, two questions. Number one, are you tracking the sales of your shelter? Are you tracking who's selling it, who the competition for it? And number two, if you're tracking it, can you help us as a partnership between you and us, right? To look at this, we'll have a 3-month target. Say, get 1 or 2, let's see how it's tracked. So are you tracking it right now? Do you know what the story is? And number two, can you help us track not the whole country, but maybe 2 or 3, that Thailand's gonna get? So I'm kind of angry because our farmers, they even use our farmers as an excuse for all these smugglings and scams. They're using us as an excuse to steal money where the rich get rich and poor get worse. So can you do that? Number one, are you tracking it? Number two, can you help us track some things? Thank you.
Yeah, sir. For number one, this is regards to yung ating multi-purpose heater. Is the one you're referring?
Yes.
Actually, we have a track of that. It's not actually number of sales because wala pa talaga actually nabenta, but we have already, in terms of number of users na meron ng gumagamit. Actually,
for us businessmen, that's good, but not good enough. This charity thing, let's forget it. Agriculture is business, right? In other words, if being used, maybe they're using it at a loss, right? We gotta find out. Then after that, if it's followed, then we'll spread it to people. You know what I mean? Your brilliance must shine like the light in the gospel, right? And we're here to help you make that shine. But we need a partnership with you. So you're not tracking it. Please track it. And for me, as long as you don't have sales, it's not doing much. Because the businessmen in Thailand and Vietnam turn it into sales, right? And we want to be your partner. So number one, you're not trying, please track it, okay? Number two, can you be our partner? Let's
Yes,
have a
sir.
project, MAPAC and you. Have a project, you look at a few, maybe get a team, and let's Bernie, I think you'd like that, no? Our chair would like that, no? We might have a more agreement with the scientists. We'll track it. We're kind of fed up with the scientists doing it, and nobody knows about it. As what happened in Visca, correct? As what happened in Visca, where I got 37 tons. It was brilliant. It's only Visca that did it, right? And nobody knew it in Batangas. And the president of Philippines didn't know about it in Aquino, so I gave them some excitement. Nobody knows. You know who knows? Vietnam and Thailand. They're really, we really need your help. So can we have a partnership with you?
Yes, sir. The answer is really yes. Yes, because that's also the challenge for our scientists. For me, most of those R&Ds that we are doing, if it will not reach to the farmers, it will not reach to the intended, users. That's still a failure for us.
Yeah, but you're not talking to anyone, right? Who are you talking to in business? You scientists, and we should get married. We don't know the knowledge you have, and you don't know who we are because we can turn this into money.
Yeah.
Walang salita. Kasi nga mo siguro sa you get a group of scientists, young and brilliant like you, maybe not young like me, whatever, right? Okay. And you have a project. My God, puro salita. I mean, what I'm saying is that unless you talk to the right people and unless you agreement, it will stay there to be stolen by Vietnam and Thailand. I was on a plane coming back, right? Pare, anong ginagawa dito? Kung saan kami siya, talagaan sila, alam mo, gobyerno, hindi. Ano? Alam mo tayo, hindi mo alam, walang nagtatanong sa amin. You see, that's our foundation. Our chairman, Ramon Osorio, wants us here not just to talk, but to do poverty reduction, which is nothing unless your grants on your seller turn into sales with profit and will expand. One of the things we achieved there is this. Some guy came here, right? It is new Taglo, walang alam, right? We took him to the head of Hungary, the whole Philippines, right? And his scale skyrocketed by more than 10 times. He got in contact with the regional people in every region, all suddenly because there is no contact between you brilliant guys and we not so bright but money-oriented guys. Okay, so we'll do that. So my challenge, 2 weeks from now, we will call you up. You tell me if you got 1 or 2 partners, whatever, and then we will see. And you got to put the time for this, right? I know you're very, you got to allocate X% of the time. You meet with your barcada, and let's have a formal agreement. Because we got Oscar is a first-class finance guy, etc. And you Panko, Mr. Hustler. Okay? So yes, so 2 weeks from now,
Yes, sir.
we'll call you up, huh? All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We'll call you up para sigurado tayo at 0999-569-7004. You around the world who are hearing this thing, no? Remember this number and call him up. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. To augment what Ka Ernie said, Dr. Roel, you already mentioned that there are users. Kindly include also in our next discussion with Ka Ernie, where are they located, which varieties are already being used, and how many are using it. Because this will be the start of the metrics. I know that root systems are very, very complex, but maybe since you have already found successful tests in your pilot project, so maybe to help you expand and commercialize it, we need those data from you.
Okay, ma'am. Noted.
Thank you. Yes, we have another question from Sir Oscar Barrera.
Yeah, well, this is not a question, but more of a suggestion. Well, the Filipino culture, we are a gaya-gaya culture. When a farmer introduces a new technique or so on, the neighboring farmers just look over the shoulder or look over the fence and just watch whether the guy is successful or not. And then when he's successful, of course, everybody in the whole town makes gaya-gaya and plants, let's say, the same crop. And so there's an overproduction and etc. So I think there's got to be a sense of organization Now, about your multi-seeder, what you need there is a fabricator to induce or motivate a fabricator to make some models. And then those models are going to be put into your model farm or demo farm. Now, we have a member here. Unfortunately, I don't see him today, but we can put him in touch. That's Ramon Uy from, I think, from Iloilo. And that's his business, to make small tools and implements. So, Bernie, I suggest you put Ramon Uy in contact with Dr. Surata on that fabrication of the first production of the multi-seeder, maybe about 10 multi-seeders, and then that can be distributed in model farms per region by DA, and they make this as a demo farm for everybody to watch. That is how, you know, the Japanese, you graduated from Nagoya. I'm sure you will know that during the Meiji reign of Emperor Meiji, when he wanted to modernize Japanese agriculture, he chose the best farmers in Japan and sent them over to the United States and all over the world to learn also the latest Western techniques. And they brought this back into Japan, and that's why Japan modernized very, very fast. So it's a matter of a demonstration to propagate your new technologies. Thank you.
Roel, my question in relation to that comment,
Okay.
does the rice tariffication law allot funding, let us say, for the multi-purpose seeder? Or where can you source your funding?
Yeah, actually, when we introduced this multi-purpose seeder, especially in may rejoinder muna ako kay Sir Oscar, no, and then yung ano kay Mr. Ramon Oy, because this is also very timely. Iloilo is one of our target area actually for, you know, for the multi-purpose seeder, because they are doing direct seeding there for rice production. In fact, this is one of our pilot areas when we develop this technology. So I think this is a very good development if we can actually link with Mr. Ramon Oy. And ano nga po ulit yung question niyo, Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ako yung question, ako yung funding.
Yeah,
for the
funding.
seeder.
Actually, when we introduced, nung pumunta kami ng, this one of the story during the development of the multi-purpose seeder. We went to Isabela, and we went to the office of the governor, because we need this one final, testing in the province of Isabela. And then the good governor asked us, that was during 2021, I think, saan na ba ito na i-test? And we said that this was tested in Ilocos Norte, Pangasinan, Union, Zambales, and then he said that, okay, I think there's no need to test this in Isabela. What we want is give us 1,000 units of this multi-purpose seeder. So we're actually caught off guard. Kasi nga, ang challenge sa amin is yung commercialization. So until now, we haven't actually delivered that 1,000. Our collaborator, the Rice Engineering and Mechanization Division, has not actually delivered the units. And in addition to that, there are many actually who want many requests actually from farmers organizations. But the problem is yung fabrication ng units or the fabricators itself. For the RCEP, ito yung isang question, kasi this actually a feedback from the farmers organizations themselves, especially on those pilot areas. Kasi ang sinasabi nila, for the RCEP mechanization, parang hindi naman yung wish nila ang nasusunod kung anong machine ang gusto nila. parang meron na kaagad package from the Department of Agriculture na dapat ito yung matatanggap nyo. And during that discussion, actually, nandun sa wish list nila na sana maisama yung multi-purpose seeder. But until now, hindi pa rin siya napasok doon sa RCEP mechanization. So puro pa rin mga traktora, puro pa rin mga yung mga major equipment na
Saan nanggagaling yung funding niyo?
We have kasi sa research lang po ma'am sa R&D is coming from the Bureau of Agricultural Research for our R&D funding. But for commercialization, so far po wala po kaming funding for commercialization. But we do have this technology already.
Madam Chair, I don't mean to really interrupt, but I have to interrupt. 2 days ago, there's a newspaper account, Dr. Roel, a newspaper on COA once again talking about the corruption in the, and they talked about the machines, correct? That nakalagay doon a large part that was never given out, seats have not been distributed, etc. But Dr. Roel, this is the thing. You do the brilliant technology, somebody screws it up with corruption, all that. We've also as MEP ABCD, we're represented in PICAF. We're now the chair of international trade. And what happened is that it's now the Senate, and they haven't done it 6 months, wala pa nangyari. Because this kind of thing is so easy to cure. All they have to do is what they did before, which is let the private sector look. They stopped us, you know that? They stopped us. And 2 years, we beg them, nothing happens. Go to the Senate na ito, sino wala pa. So I need your help, alright? Alam mo, kailangan namin kaya hindi namin alam anong maganda doon. Hindi namin alam, di ba? Alam mo, so you do that, and then we're going to the Senate again. We're saying you're crazy, you're increasing the budget again. Do you know that? It's gonna be 181 billion. It used to be, 70 billion. Kung dadagdag ka, corrupt rin naman, di ba? And 2 years straight, okay? $20, 60 billion. COA, hindi ko aktivista na komunista, etc. No? First of all, I want to say that communists, we reject their violence, but some of them are idealistic, right? And we must stop this violence, right? But I'm just saying that we need your help. We need scientific guys like you to tell us where to go and to do it, right? Yeah, alam mo bakit maling machine? Kasi the corruption, doon na sa umpisa, nag-corrupt na, nag-decide na to, may lagay, etc. Binili sa inyo, maling makina. They don't give a damn because they already made their kita, right? You know what I mean? And in fairness to DA, what they do kasi, they say don't blame them, 1/3, 22 billion unregulated. Next year, 23 billion. We talked to the Senate Committee on Blue Ribbon. Committee, walang ginagawa. Tuloy ito itong lokungan na ito. But if they don't help us, President will do it. But we need you to let us know. Yung mga nariman. Kasi nababalitaan nyo ganun, hindi ka nag-usap sa amin Mag-usap kayo sa amin. Sino connection nyo? Daldalan sa beer? Dapat action. Now, we here have been blessed by God, di ba? There's a connection, we're now elected, etc. As in PICAF and all that. And Roel, I'm really serious. You get the team as committed as you. I once say, that these communists, marami doon criminal, pero mga iba doon idealistic. They lay their lives. And here these rich guys are stealing our money, and we don't know because it's your side of me who can tell us, di ba, Roel? Sorry, pero seryoso mo to, You take this as your passion, equal to your salary. Equal is making it given to the farm. Kung ginagawa nyo, kunin ng Vietnam, Vietnam are people too, and mas Christians we also like. Pero, Roel, walang link We need you now as a champion. You make a group, give it a name, whatever. You team up with us, and then you tell, then we move, di ba? Like which machines are coming. Daldalan sabi, we don't know How can we complain? We don't know. You gotta tell us, okay? So, Roel, I'm dead serious, You got a team of maybe 12 apostles or 3P, whatever. Diba? And then unite with us, right? We'll talk to Oscar Barrio, who's good with finance. We'll talk to Ike Sener, who's good with IT. We'll have a team to counterpart with you. And of course, Bernie will be our guide and angel. And Julius, our leader, our chairman, diba? Si Julius, okay? O sige, kaya naasar ako kasi napakaraming example nito. At alam po ninyo, I was in DTI, At ang DA rin, Alam mo, grabe ang pagkaiba, Tignan mo yung core report today. Meron bang corruption doon? Halos na. Grabe, 1/3. Grabe. Di ba? Nakakainis, di ba? And now we grew again. More and more money, more and more money. Corrupt rin naman. Bakit pa dadagdag natin yan? Siyempre dagdag natin. Pero we need you, sir. We don't have a scientific partner right now. Di ba, Roel? Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir. Okay na okay. Yan po yung hinahanap namin talaga kasi as a researcher nga, as I've said earlier, mas happy din kami na yung ginagawa namin ay makakarating talaga doon sa intended users.
Yung problema, wag na yung pabir-bir. Let us go, kami naman, but that's we have to unite for the people now, di ba? Nagbanggit ka lang ngayon hapon walang nangyari. Kaya mag-action na tayo. Yun ang gusto ng chairman namin, Ilusorio. Sabi niya, this is poverty reduction, okay? It's not just business, it's poverty reduction. And we need scientists like you, because how did Vietnam and all that progress? Through science and technology. We're still, you know, our mango is going to hell. Do you know that? We're losing already our market. Wala tayong anyway, so salamat po.
And thank you for everyone who participated. I hope you'll be able to share the knowledge that we have gained towards this session. Vivian, for the next session, that will be on August 29, 2023, again at 8 o'clock in the morning. It will be our 32nd session entitled Reinvigorating the Coconut Industry with Bernie Cruz, who is the administrator of the Philippine Coconut Authority. Now, we conclude today's session with the awarding of our certificate of appreciation to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Roel Suralta. So the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation Incorporated, in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines, presents this certificate of appreciation for Dr. Roel Suralta, who is our esteemed resource speaker for today's session, the 31st weekday online meeting of ABCDF MAP. The certificate is signed by our chairman, Mr. Julius Barcelona, and our president, Ernesto Ordonez. Congratulations and thank you very much. Let's give a warm round of applause for our esteemed speaker, Dr. Roel.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roel.